Hi there, and welcome back to Viewpoint Christian Academy. So glad you could join us again for another devotion this week. At Viewpoint Christian Academy, we have been empowering parents to provide a Christian education for their children since 1984, and we love Jesus, and we want our students to love Him too. So in today's devotion, we're going to talk about the idea of finishing strong, because you know what? People always remember how you finish. Stay tuned. All right, so I want to start by sharing a little bit of a sports story. One of my favorite athletes of all time was a man named Eric Liddell. Eric Liddell lived about over 100, well, he was born over 100 years ago, and about 100 years ago, in the 1920s, he was famous worldwide as an Olympic gold medalist. He actually set a world's record in the 400-meter race back in that time, and he was a really fantastic athlete, could run and left a legacy of that. But more than that, he was a man of God. He loved Jesus with all of his heart, and he was a missionary to China and was there around the time of World War II and actually died as a missionary martyr during that time as well. But he was a great Olympic athlete. But before he went to the Olympics, he, of course, ran a lot of races. And one story was kind of legendary about him is that one day he was running in a race. I believe it was a 400 meter. And he was running in the race, and I can't remember if he fell or I think actually somebody pushed him and nudged him out of the way, and he fell down. And what did he do? As he fell down and he rolled, he skinned his knee, etc., he turned and he looked and he saw everybody just kind of going ahead. And with determination, Eric got up off the ground and he started to run. And he ran as fast as he possibly could. He kicked it into high gear. And he just ran and ran and ran and ran until that massive disadvantage that he had began to shrink until he finally passed the leader and came in first. He ran so hard and with so much heart that he actually, after completing that race, fell to the ground out of sheer exhaustion. But everybody remembered that race because Eric, even though he fell and even though he was so far behind, he determined that he was just going to get up and finish to the best of his ability. And he came in first and he got it done. And he did way more than he or anybody else thought he could do because he decided, I'm just going to finish well. I want to talk to you today about the idea of finishing well. In Galatians chapter 5, verse number 7, the Apostle Paul is writing to the Galatians and he says, "You did run well. Who did hinder you that you should not obey the truth?" Paul is kind of rebuking the Galatians because in the race of Christianity, they were running well, but then all of a sudden they started to get tricked and deceived and they stopped following after truth and they started to follow after error. And Paul was just kind of rebuking them, saying, what's the matter with you guys? You were running so well, but then you just kind of quit. You kind of gave up. You think of the famous fable, right? Aesop's fable, the tortoise and the hare. Right? We know the story. The tortoise and the hare are having a race. And it's ready, set, go. And the hare goes, and he just buzzes off. And the turtle just goes, doo-doo, 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 doo-doo. Just going slow but steady. And the rabbit's running around and he stops at one point. He turns around and he looks, oh, I'm way ahead. I'm just going to take a break. And he sits back and he closes his eyes and he takes a nap. And the turtle, he just what? Doo-doo, doo-doo, doo-doo. Who was faster? Oh, the rabbit, that hare. He was so much faster. But because he stopped and took a nap, the turtle, he just kept going. And he kept going. And he passed the hare. And he got all the way to the finish line. And as the turtle is just about at the finish line, the rabbit wakes up. He looks and he sees the turtle is almost win. So he runs as fast as he can. But he lost the race. The turtle came in first. Why? Because the turtle finished well. He kept going. He persevered. The rabbit, he made the mistake of thinking, I got this in the bag, and he just kind of sat back. Instead of finishing well, he finished poorly. You know, it's how you finish that people will remember, right? It's how you finish that people will remember. I think of examples in the Bible. King Saul. Boy, what a great start he had as the king of Israel and going out and defeating the enemies of the people of God and doing all these things, anointed of God. But he finished really bad, right? He finished poorly. I think of Solomon, the wisest man to ever live, and he built a temple for God, and he did all of these great things, wrote all of these wonderful things, but at the end of his life, how do we remember him? Well, the Bible records that he turned away from God and served idols. He finished poorly. I think of Samson. Samson, boy, he didn't run well at all. We read about failure after failure after failure with Samson. He was not a good guy as far as that goes. He kept on giving in to sensual and worldly appetites. But at the very end of his life, when he was blind and he was in prison, what did he do? He called out to God and he finished well. I think of the thief on the cross. The thief on the cross next to Jesus as Jesus was crucified. Not a good guy. He deserved probably to be crucified. But how did he finish? Well, he finished well. He finished in faith. Now, I want to do two things. I want to run well, and I want to finish well. But you know what? The fact of the matter is, along the way, we're going to have slip-ups, and along the way, we're going to make mistakes, and along the way, like Eric Liddell, we may fall. But the key is that if you fall, get back up and run. Get back up and go, so that you can say, I finished well. It doesn't matter how you've been running, whether you're ahead or behind. It matters most how you finish. Look, we're coming to the close of the school year. Finish strong. Finish well. Maybe you're behind. Well, then start running as fast as you can. Maybe you're ahead. Well, then keep going and don't stop. Don't take a nap. Don't take a rest. Go. Finish strong for the glory of God. Look at what Apostle Paul said this. Forgetting those things that are behind, I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of God. It didn't matter how I was doing. I'm forgetting all that. I'm just going from here on out. So let me encourage you. Make today like a fresh start and go. Finish strong. Lord bless you today. Have a great day. We love you and are praying for you.